Hi, Debbie Giaquindo, the Hudson Valley Wine Goddess. Welcome to the Hudson Valley Wine Festival's Wine Pairing with Takeout Food Seminar. I know things are a little different this year. I even kind of dressed up for you because I was tired of just sitting in shorts and a tank top that I've been in for the past, couple months here. And I'm coming to you from a restaurant that I own in Stone Harbor, New Jersey. I thought it was appropriate, given the situation everybody's in right now, to bring to you a seminar that you can use. We don't know what the fall and the winter hold for us, and you might be doing a lot more takeout. So I thought we would do a pairing wines with takeout seminar. I actually polled some of my friends, my tribe, whatever you want to call it, and asked them about what types of food that they had during this time, if it traveled well, things like that. I got a whole bunch of mixed comments about what they had, whether it traveled well. So we're going to go and start a webinar, and I'm going to talk about how food interacts with wine and different types of food that we take, for takeout. And then I asked Chef Gus Zimmerman, who is my cousin and also partner here at this restaurant, to sit down with us and talk about menus, what to look for in a takeout, when you're taking out food, when you're ordering food for takeout. And that way, because there's some items that just don't travel well. For instance, if you order a steak and you like your steak medium rare, unless you've got a good chef behind the tongs there in the kitchen, if he cooks it medium rare, puts it in the container, by the time you get home it might be medium well, because the steak continues to cook. So we're going to sit down with Gus at the end of the seminar, and he's going to give us some insights. He's going to prepare some food that we have on our takeout menu and talk a little bit about us. And of course, I brought wine, and we're going to talk about what to pair with what types of takeout food. And I hope you really enjoy this. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can email me at debbie@hudsonvalleywinegoddess.com, and you can also email me any questions you have for Chef Gus. Now let's go to the webinar. Hi, thank you for coming to the Pairing Wines with Takeout seminar. I know it's a little different, but we're just going to roll with it. I chose this because of situation that we're in right now, and we don't know where the future holds with restaurants, so I thought it would be good to talk about pairing wines with takeout. But one thing I do want to state is, if you like it, eat it. If you like it, drink it. Everyone's palates are different, so what I like and might think is a good pairing might be completely different in your mouth. Also, when you're tasting wine and food, take a sip of the wine, take a bite of the food, and then take a sip of the wine, and you'll see how the food interacts and changes the wine. So let's talk about sweet, the sweetness you get on the tip of your tongue. If the food is sweet, the impact of the wine is going to make the wine more acidic, less sweet, and fruity, and feel kind of bitter, and it'll dry out your mouth. So when you're pairing wines with sweet food, you really want the wine to be sweeter than the food. This right here is a chocolate torte we had at a Left Coast wine dinner here at the restaurant, and the wine was fruity, so it actually worked really well with the chocolate. This is our 5th scent, umami. What is it? It's the taste of monosodium glutamate. It's kind of like a beefy, earthy type of taste. So wine will make this food more acidic and less sweet and fruity, and it'll feel more drying and bitter. So with umami, you want to avoid pairing it with wines that have high tannins, because it'll increase the dryness and the bitterness of the wine. Salty. Oh God, love a salt pretzel. You feel the salt, you taste the saltiness underneath, just underneath your tongue, because then it makes you salivate more. The salt will make the wine less acidic and more fruity. The salt will make the wine smoother. It will feel richer, less bitter and acidic. And wine will make the tannin softer and more palatable. So when you salt that steak and you take a bite and then you drink the wine, the tannins will feel softer in your mouth. And acidity, you get the acidity on the sides of your mouth. And acidity brings out the fruitiness of the wine. It makes the wine sweeter and richer. And high acid foods soften very acidic wines. So that's why we're going to go into the food pairings right now in a minute. So we have highly flavored foods. This is a beef short rib that we served at the restaurant. Highly flavored foods are fatty or oily, spicy, hot, will overwhelm the wine. So especially something that's spicy, it will increase the alcohol heat in your mouth. So you want to pair highly flavored foods with a wine of similar intensity. Then we have fatty and oily foods like fried chicken. You want a high acid wine that'll cut through the fat. And like I said before, with hot and spicy foods, you really want a wine with a little bit of sweetness to it, because the sweetness will interact and take away the heat of the spiciness, so your mouth won't be on fire. So if you're ever at a food event and you eat something really, really spicy, go look for that wine that's got a little bit of sweetness. So the biggest takeout item is pizza. And I think regardless of COVID and quarantine, everybody goes for pizza. You don't want to cook tonight, a pizza. Your kids got baseball, you get pizza for dinner. So the best wines to pair with pizza is a Barbera, Nebbiolo, Sangiovese, Nero d'Avola. Nero d'Avola is from Sicily, Mount Etna. They're usually inexpensive. I think it's a great pizza wine. Antipasto, a good rosé, an Assortico, a Pinot Grigio, Vermentino, Chianti, Cabernet Franc, all will go very well with the antipasta. It's kind of, you got salty and oily here going with it, especially the salt from the meats, and the salts will help balance out the wine. Cab Franc will go nice with the green olives. Cab Franc sometimes tends to have some green notes to it, so that they will complement each other. Now we have the barbecue. Here we have salty and highly flavored foods. Between a barbecue, shish kebab, a burger, you're going to really want a full-bodied kind of red wine. I've got here a GSM from Passaggio. We have Sparkman Syrah from the Red Mountain region of Washington. We have a Malbec from White Cliff Vineyards in the Hudson Valley, Glory Farm Cab Franc from the Hudson Valley, and a Tempranillo from Spain. Those will all go very well with barbecue. I personally like Malbecs with my ribs, but they will all go really well with barbecue. Now we've got the Asian food. Here we're looking at unami. So you want high acid whites and light reds. You don't want a really big tannic red with your Asian food. Gruner Veltliner, Riesling, Sauvignon Blanc, a Gamay, a Pinot Noir, a Baco Noir, a Cherrois. They'll all pair really well with your Asian food. The semi-dry Riesling will pair really well with a curry because of the spiciness in the curry. It will really complement it. You taste that curry before you taste that wine, and then see how the semi-sweetness of the Riesling interacts with the heat and just kind of puts the fire out in your mouth. So any of those wines will go well with the food. I've got po, got some type of lo mein noodles there. And then we have fried foods. Here we have fat, oily, and salty. I think that champagne or sparkling wines in general go fantastic with fried foods. Fried chicken, fried fish, potato chips, get a bottle of cava, prosecco, franciacorta, Cremant, champagne, whatever type of bubbles you've got. Just sparkling wine from anywhere will go great with fried foods. And I also want to say ethnic foods. If you live in a big city where you have a lot of great ethnic restaurants, ethnic food with ethnic wine. So if you're going to do Greek takeout, get some Greek wine. Get an Assortico. If it's like a fish or something, try and pair. If you're doing Spanish tapas, try and get a Spanish wine. But when in doubt, go with the bubbles. Bubbles goes with everything, and bubbles makes you happy. So I'm Debbie Giaquindo. I'm the Hudson Valley Wine Goddess. We're going to sit down now with Chef Gus, and we're going to talk a little bit about takeout food and what you should look for when you're ordering off a menu. Some restaurants, and I know where I am right now, some restaurants, they didn't do anything to change their menu for takeout. So whatever was on their menu, that's what they're doing from takeout. And sometimes takeout, it has to travel well. I know that Chef Gus is very particular on what he offers for takeout because, let's face it, you might run into someone on the street, you're talking, blah, blah, blah. You get home later, you're going to have to reheat the dinner. You don't want to have to reheat it and then you're going to, overcook it, where now you just had a terrible experience with takeout. So we're going to discuss all those with Chef Gus. So we'll be right back. Welcome to the second part of the seminar, Pairing Wines with Takeout Food. This is Executive Chef Gus Zimmerman. He is my cousin. He's a partner here in the restaurant in Stone Harbor. And Chef, let's talk a little bit about takeout food. Now, what should people look for in a menu? Because around here, nobody changed their menu really. I mean, we changed our menu for takeout because the food has to travel well. But what should people look at a menu for a restaurant when they're ordering takeout?
Well, I think for us, what we chose to do was stuff that we knew that would travel well. So, look for kind of like braised meats or, simple grilled stuff or, roasted. Try to keep it so, like, what I did was try to do something I knew it would travel well. So, with braised meats, as they sit and travel, they're not gonna, they should be very good when you get home. And like we do, we have some examples here of stuff that we chose to put on the menu.
So let's talk about some of these foods because we have, the basic seashore food and then we have ethnic foods as well. So
Sure.
Talk a little bit about the food that we have here.
So right here, like Deb said, we have, it's a lobster, shrimp, and crab cake. And it's actually really easy reheat. Like if it's, if you were to go to a takeout place and get a crab cake and, it dropped in temperature on travel, you just put it back in the oven, maybe 250 degrees, 275 degrees for about, 10, 15 minutes. Then it should, bring it back. You don't want to microwave it, obviously. And another example we have is jerk style chicken. So we're doing some jerk white meat and a thigh. And I knew that the thigh would be, the showcase of that entree because the thigh is braised and then it's, roasted and it travels great. And we did it with like a dirty rice, which peas, black beans, corn, cumin, coriander, and a little bit of, chicken liver and some bacon as well.
And we have that paired with here, a Finger Lakes Dr. Frank's semi-dry Riesling because there is a little bit of spice in that.
Sure, for sure. It's not super spicy. I mean, you can make it super spicy, but what we tried to do is keep it at like that medium level of jerk spice so it wasn't overpowering. And then we also like a tandoori style, like French chicken legs. And again, it's another one that's braised and then roasted, and it's, you know, it's not hot spicy, but you know, it's a lot of spice.
And I have it here paired with a Vino Verde, Casal Garcia, and 33% more. It's a liter, and it was like $2 more than the $7.50. And we are talking quarantine time, so we definitely need more wine.
Sure.
And then we have albondigas.
Yeah, so albondigas, for anyone that doesn't, it's just a Spanish style meatball. I know the Spanish serve it with, you know, a light, like what we do is a tomato nage. You know, it's just tomato sauce, a little bit of cream, a little bit of butter cut into it. Some roasted parsnips and roasted carrots are mixed in with the sauce. And the Mexicans also do albondigas, but theirs is usually served, you know, in a soup. But it's another one. It reheats really well, and it's perfect for takeout. And yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing you want to look for. Just stick with rices and risottos, maybe some roasted vegetables, mashed potatoes, but no, you know, fried stuff's really, you know.
I was going to ask you about fried stuff.
Yeah.
How does that travel?
It doesn't really, you know, it doesn't really travel well. I mean, you can always reheat in the oven. I mean, that's your best bet, is to go back into an oven if you want to reheat it. But, you know, rice
So how high would you have the oven? Because, for example, we did do takeout for wings, and when we got them home, they were kind of soggy.
Yeah. Probably anywhere between 275 and 325 is probably good.
So you don't really want the oven to be really, really hot when you're reheating.
Not really. I mean, if it's too hot, it's already been cooked, right?
Right.
So, you know, if you put it at a high temp, you're gonna have to pull it out of the oven really quick, because it'll start to burn and dry out, and
then you've had a bad takeout meal.
Exactly, you've had a bad takeout meal. So I mean, and I'm sure that.
What foods should people steer away from when ordering?
Steer away from. I know in the beginning of this I said grilled meats, but really what I meant was like grilled chicken's okay, you know, but
how about pork?
Pork is good if it's roasted, you know, if it's like we do a roasted pork entree here, and again it's another one that's, you know, it's a slow cooked, you know, 2.5 to 3.5 hours of slow roasted. It's really braised. You know, so it, you know, we cook it and then we cool it down in the liquid that it's cooked in, so it rehydrates. So then by the time, you know, it's getting ready to go out to service, or, you know, for pickup or whatever, it still has some life, and, you know, it's got a lot of life and moisture left in it. But stay away from grilled, like steak. Steak is the one thing, or even pan-seared, whatever it may be. But steak is, you know, it's a tough one. Once it goes into a container and it's still cooking up in temperature, but it's also, it's creating steam in that takeout container, which is going to turn the meat to rubber, really, you know.
And how about seafood?
Seafood's a tough one. You know, that's probably the hardest thing, being down at the Jersey Shore, where people are looking for that seafood. You know, everybody wants that Jersey Shore, you know, seashore food. And if you are, like, crab cake's probably a safe bet, because, like I said, it's an easy reheat. But fish, you know, fish is a really tough one, unless...
Like, someone shouldn't order flounder.
Yeah, it's not, I mean...
Should they? I mean, if they see it on a takeout menu?
I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, if you're at a place where it's like you're going in, ordering from a window, and then you're sitting out on a picnic table, yeah, sure, that's great. I mean, you can do that, you know. If you're going to eat it within 10 minutes, yes. But if you've got the drive and you got to take it home, and it's another one that's, as soon as it hits a takeout container, it's going to create steam, and it's going to rubberize and overcook, you know, the fish. So now, I mean, fish is a tough one, you know, unless it's cold applications, you know, poached.
Tartar.
Exactly, tartar, or poached salmon, or poached scallops, or smoked stuff, you know, that stuff that was really meant for preservation and travel. you know, that kind of application, you know.
Is there any kind of dishes people should stay away from? You know, that you can think of, or maybe dishes that are definitely a yes for a takeout? I mean, besides pizza.
Yeah, I mean, the yes is definitely the braised and roasted meats, and the no's are steak. You know, and honestly, you know, it's funny because a lot of people get Italian food to go, but pasta is one of those things that I personally, I do not think that it travels well. You know, it's another one that overcooks, and, you know, you get home and the pasta's mush. You know, unless it's like lasagna maybe. You know, lasagna probably travels pretty well. I've actually never had it to go, but I don't think pasta is really a good travel unless, again, it's cold application, pasta salads, potato salads, that kind of stuff, you know.
Right. How about vegetables? Do they travel well?
They don't, but if they're undercooked, you know, like that's what we've been trying to do here is, you know, try to undercook. You know, they're tough ones. So like what we try to do is, if we are gonna I don't want to say overcook, but like ratatouille, that kind of stuff, you know, stewed tomatoes and zucchini, like that stuff travels well. Or I've been using a lot of green beans because you can undercook the green beans and then kind of think about, well, if it travels for 15 minutes, they're probably going to finish out in the travel time, you know. Maybe some wilted greens, you know, like I've been using heavier greens like the kales and the collards because they do get a little bit more tender as they kind of go over in temperature, I guess, you know. But
so as they travel, they'll continue to cook?
For sure. I mean, veggies are a hard one, you know. They can overcook and travel and get, you know, all turned to mush. It's a tough one. I mean, the whole, you know, takeouts, you know, can't just be pizza and burgers, right?
Right. And now, one of the things some people had said to me when they ordered sandwiches for takeout, including burgers, stuff was soggy by the time they got it home.
For sure. So what I would do is, if you have a long travel time, whatever, 20 minutes, let's say, to get back and forth, you might want to ask the people at the restaurant to package everything separately. You know, have the fries packaged separately, you know, the burger roll and, you know, the accoutrements, the lettuce, tomato, onion, or whatever you're doing, have it, you know, hey, can you guys just put the burger in a separate container, like separate everything. I know it's kind of a pain, but that's where you're probably going to get the best, you know, quality. And order the burger, if they do temps at that restaurant, order the burger like maybe a half temp to a full temp under as well.
Because it'll continue to cook.
It is going to continue to cook for sure. There's always layover, you know, temperature for sure.
And French fries don't travel well ever.
They don't travel well, so that's the thing with your fries, you know, if you want them like you're actually, you know, getting them fresh out of a, you know, fryer, and you order takeout burger with French fries, your best bet is to, again, put it in the oven, you know, 300 degrees, 275, 325, maybe 10 minutes, just to bring them back a little bit.
Is there anything else maybe you want to say to people about, you know, ordering takeout from a chef's perspective and, you know, having a satisfied customer at the end?
Well, I mean, I think as chefs in this situation, you know, with most of us being kind of forced into doing takeout, you know, when you're looking at a menu, you want to, like with us, it's always a small, limited menu. And it's not limited, I shouldn't say that. It's a thoughtful menu. You know, people that have these grand, you know, menus with 20, 30 things on them, I mean, nobody's really doing this tremendous business like you would if you had dine-in. So I would look for, you know, smaller, limited menus, because you know that they're probably rotating through that food better as far as having, you know, all types of stuff. I mean, we have to be very thoughtful of how it's going to travel. You know, it's an added element in this, you know, climate that we're in right now. It's tough, but like I said, braised meats, you know, that's the thing. We're in the middle of summer now, and nobody, or stews even too as well. It's not really stew food. It's not really summer food, but it's probably executed the best for takeout.
We had cioppino. We started with a cioppino.
We did. We started with cioppino, and that was a tough one because of the seafood situation. So what we chose to put in the cioppino was types of fish. So we were using, I believe, swordfish. We're doing mussels, clams, maybe shrimp and scallops. And the procedure of cooking that, I knew that the swordfish, as it sat in the tomato broth, the tomato and fish fumet broth, it would actually kind of rehydrate, and by the time they would get it home, it would be very tender. Like sometimes, like you get to a point with swordfish, it's either overcooked and rubbery, but if it goes past that, it actually starts to emulate what a braised meat would do. It'll soak it back up. Mussels travel pretty okay, but yeah, it was a tough one. But I think we had a lot of good responses with it.
We did.
Just because of the thought of actually cooking it, stopping the cooking, reheat before it goes out. There's a lot of different elements and thought that has to go into it. But
I want to thank you for taking the time to sit and talk with everybody about, takeout, and thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Chef Gus certainly had some interesting take on takeout food, and as you can see, what I have paired here, the Vino Verde, I have paired with the tandoori chicken. I have the semi-sweet Riesling paired with the jerk chicken. I have an albarino paired with the shrimp, lobster, and crab cake, and both a mencia and a tempranillo with the albondigas, because I was keeping with the Spanish wine with Spanish food. So I hope that we come out of this situation pretty soon, so we can all go in and enjoy the restaurants and enjoy the dining like we used to. But if we have a winter where we're not able to, I just hope that you remember just different things that Chef Gus had mentioned about takeout food, how to reheat it. Remember, it's not a hot oven. And the different wine pairings to go with the different types of food that that are out there. And just remember, when you're in doubt on what to pair with your food, go with bubbles. I'm Debbie Giaquindo. I'm the Hudson Valley Wine Goddess. I hope you enjoyed the seminars here for the Hudson Valley Wine Fest. I look forward to seeing all of you next year in person at the Dutchess County Fairgrounds. Until then, you can find me on all the social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. HudsonValleyWineGoddess.com is my website. And if you need to email me any questions, and if you need to ask Chef Gus any questions, you can email me at Debbie@HudsonValleyWineGoddess.com. Thank you.